Benvenuto. Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to be making a creamy tomato soup. Now, you might ask, Mark, why should I take the time to make a creamy tomato soup when I can simply just open a can with that famous red and white label, along with many others? And all those soups are delicious. But the reason why you should make your own is because it's yours and you're going to make it with love. Even though we are opening up a can of tomatoes to make the soup. It's not like we grew them in our garden. But anyway, not only that, for supper tonight, we're going to have soup and a sandwich. So this video is going to be in two parts, or this episode is going to be in two parts. Wade will join them together and separate you all nicely in case you want to make one and not the other. But we're going to make a really famous and delicious sandwich that I hope you'll all try and enjoy. Anyway, so what do we need for our creamy tomato soup? All right, first thing we need is we need two 28-ounce cans of tomatoes. You all know my favorite brand, ground peel tomatoes. This is the regular salt. There's no other additional basil or anything to this. We're going to put some fresh basil in there, so we don't want the one with basil. But that is always my go-to when I use canned tomatoes. We're going to need 2 cups of vegetable stock. Okay, now, I'm using vegetable stock because I'm trying to keep this as vegetarian as possible. You could also use chicken stock. Of course, you wouldn't want to use beef stock. It's going to change the taste, plus it's going to make your sauce really, really dark. But anyway, you can use chicken stock if you want. I'm using vegetable stock. Now, to keep it, if you wanted to keep it 100% vegan, you could just use olive oil. But I am going to put a little bit of salted butter in here for 2 reasons. The butter gives it that little tiny bit of extra creaminess from the fat in the butter. And I'm also using salted butter because we don't put a lot of salt. We're not going to put any additional salt in this other than what's already in our tomatoes and the butter. But you want 4 tablespoons in total of fat. So you can either use 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of butter, which is what I'm going to do today. You could use 4 tablespoons of butter, and you could use 4 tablespoons of olive oil, however you so choose it. You're going to need a tablespoon of white sugar, and you really do need the white sugar. You could use a substitute. Of course, I would have that, maybe a teaspoon of a substitute. But you do need that little bit of sweetness to reduce, to take that acidy taste away from the tomatoes. Also, I've got a half a teaspoon of white pepper. You can use black pepper as well, fresh ground black pepper. I like to use white pepper in this because it doesn't show up, so much in the soup. And then, now of course this isn't vegan or vegetarian, but we're going to need a half a cup of heavy cream for this recipe. You could also, if you want to keep it 100% vegan, use coconut milk instead of the heavy cream. It'll give you a very similar consistency and the creaminess, and you're really not going to notice any additional taste of coconut. All right, and then we're going to need 2 whole yellow onions or sweet onions. These are Vidalias. I like Vidalias best in this, and we're just going to rough chop those. Literally rough chop them. We've done this so many times before, guys. We're going to actually, I'm going to cream this, so it doesn't really matter. Rough chopping them, it's one of the reasons, is because we're going to saute them a bit, so it'll give us a little extra surface to get them a little brown on there. All right, so that's 2 medium to large yellow onions. We're going to need 3 cloves of garlic, okay? So I don't know, I'm sure we've done this before. Easiest way to peel garlic, guys. That knife scares me. That's one of my really, really sharp knives that Wade bought me for Christmas, and I'm a little afraid of it still. So you take your root end of your garlic, all right, and just cut off that root end, throw it in your bowl. Then, of course, make sure you have your pointed part of your knife facing down, and just give it a bang. That's going to really make life so easy peeling a clove of garlic. All right? So the root end, which is the little round flat end, and then we're just going to rough chop this because, again, I'm going to blend this. Now, if for some reason you decided you want to keep this on the chunky side, please do take a little bit more time and chop that up small. I don't mind getting a big piece of garlic because I absolutely love garlic, but some people don't like biting into a big piece of garlic. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to need about 1/4 cup of fresh basil leaves. All right, it's really hard to determine a cup in basil leaves. I would say you probably need, if you have if you have a big one like that, 7, 8 of them. If you got some smaller ones, I'd say probably 12, 13. All right, and then you just need to wrap that up and just chiffonade at it. Again, we're going to blend all of this, so it's not going to matter. All right, guys, that's the ingredients. We've gone over the prep of the veggies. Let's get cooking. Okay, a couple things before we start getting everything in our pot. For this soup, I always kind of like to serve it in warmed bowls, especially if it's cold and it's chilly outside. There's nothing nicer than getting a nice warm bowl, putting your soup in it. So what I'm going to do, so these are just some little ceramic bowls. Of course, whatever you got, you don't have to do this. But I just do it especially if I'm entertaining. So I've got my oven set to the lowest temperature. Probably about 5-10 minutes before I put the soup together, I'm going to throw throw them in the oven and warm them up a little bit. Okay, so on with our soup. Okay, so we've got our olive oil. We've got a nice heavy-bottomed pan on medium-high. Let's put our oil in there. Get that nice and going. Warming up. Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to grab a spoon. All right, we got our 2 tablespoons of butter. Let's get them in there and melted. Get that butter nice and melted in there. Yeah, that'll do. And we're going to get our onions in there and get them cooking. There are a few that think they're going to get away. I don't think so. Get in there. My counter is nice and clean. So we want to saute these guys. We want them to start to become softened, and we want them to get just a little bit of caramelization on them. So we want them just to start turning a little bit brown. And of course, we're going to do this. I'm going to increase the heat to medium, and we don't want to put our garlic in yet because we do not want burnt garlic. So this is going to take a good 10 minutes for these onions to get to the point we want them. Okay, we have been sauteing on medium for just about 10 minutes, and as you can see, our onions have gotten a little bit golden. You can see there's a little bit of caramelization on the bottom of the pan, just that dark golden brown. That's exactly what we want, guys. All right, so then our next step is add our garlic. All right, so this is going to take about 30 seconds. We don't want to burn our garlic, but we want it to, the heat to, kind of help it just release a little bit of that garlic fragrance and smell. And at right about 30 seconds, you're all of a sudden going to get a big smell of garlic. Oh, there it goes. I smell it. All right, so that's good. Again, the garlic's going to continue to cook in with your sauce, and we're going to blend it, so we don't have to worry about it being in big chunks. All right, so then the next step is we're going to add in our ground peeled, kitchen ready tomato sauce. Both at once is. All right, let's get some more in there, get that all out. All right, give it a stir. Start to incorporate that all. Then we're going to add our vegetable stock or chicken stock if you're using. Depending upon how you're going to serve this, generally tomato soup we wouldn't do just as a main course. If you were doing this as a first course or something like that, an appetizer, this would easily feed, I'm going to say, 6 to 8 light eaters, 4 to 6 big eaters. Of course, we're using it as our meal, so it's going to be soup and a sandwich. So I would say if you're using it that way, definitely 4 to 6. So we got our sugar and our white pepper. Let's put that in. And last thing, we want to throw in our fresh basil. And I'm going to go back up to medium. I had turned it down to low while we were doing that process. And you want to bring this back to a boil. And that will take a few minutes. When it gets to the boiling stage, we'll come back and we'll finish up. All right, everybody, you can see, all 2 of you that are watching us tonight, you can see we've just come to a boil, okay? I want to stress that it's just at a boil. We don't want a big, huge rolling boil where it's spotting all over the place, but it is important that you bring it back to a boil because we want to get it to a certain temperature so it'll continue cooking. Now, at this point, after all that being said, we're going to simply lower it to a simmer, which on my cooktop here is about a medium-low. Medium low. No, maybe slightly less than. What's slightly less than medium? Wade's shaking his head. I don't know either. Anyway, so we want it to simmer, or as most of the rest of the world says, simmer. All right, so we're going to let it simmer for 10, 15 minutes. 10 minutes is good. And we'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay, Google, stop. All right, we have been simmering away here for just about 10 minutes. Everything's nicely incorporated. All your flavors are mixed through. I am going to give it a quick taste just to check for salt. Nom, nom. I think it needs a little bit of salt. But again, a good couple pinches. So that's coarse salt, kosher salt. It looks like it's a lot more than it actually is. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this off temporarily because Wade's got so much stuff hooked into my plug I have on this side of the kitchen. I only have that one plug left. So we got our good old immersion blender. Now, if you don't have an immersion blender, you certainly can do this in a couple batches in your regular blender, or if you got a food processor. If you don't have an immersion blender, splurge and get yourself one. They're really not that expensive, and you'll see in our fabulous, delicious sandwich that we're going to make for the rest of the dinner, I'm going to use this as well. So anyway, we're going to get this all nice and puree. Now, hopefully you guys can hear me. You can, keep this chunky if you so choose. This is a creamy tomato soup, so we're going to make it creamy. There's a piece of garlic. Let's get him. Ah! He's gone. So you're just going to end up with pretty little green pieces of your basil in there. I would run this more heavily around the bottom of the pot, but this is the pan Wade bought me for Christmas, and I don't want to scratch it up yet. All right, that looks good to me. The last thing I'm going to do, the nice thing about this is literally so easy to clean. Run it under hot water. And that's it, clean. I wish dishes were like that. See, look at it, it's spotless. I do throw it in the dishwasher, but it is clean. Okay, so our, what I do with my spoon. Let's just kind of give this one more, oh, look at that. Everything's nicely pureed, nice and smooth. Last but not least, we're going to take our beautiful half cup of heavy cream and we're going to stir it into our soup. Now, you bring this back on low heat, maybe for 10 minutes. We're going to let that everything get kind of reincorporated, get your cream in there. Although at this point it's good to go. But if you give it a few minutes on low, we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, everything is nicely heated through. Now at this point, we got our nice warm bowls. It's ready to serve. Of course, if you were going to be using this as an appetizer or your first course, you could garnish this with anything. Make some beautiful garlic croutons. You could garnish it with some roasted pumpkin seeds, or roasted almond would be awesome, sprinkled on the top. Even oyster crackers, or a nice, that's one of Wade's favorite things is oyster crackers, or a nice dollop of sour cream. All right, so now for today's purposes, or if I had was serving this as a first course, what I would do is, of course, I've got a lot of things going on at once, so what I would do is I would take my soup, I'd put it in the bowls. It's just Wade and I tonight, so I'm just going to do 2. And this is going to, other than our special sandwich, which is going to be coming up, don't know if I'd necessarily have to do 3 big scoops, but I'm going to do 3 big since it's just the 2 of us. There, you might even do 1 more on this one. Make it look even. All right, so the rest of this, of course, is not going to go to waste. I'm going to put that in a airtight container let it come to room temperature, and then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. So, but for today's purposes, so what I would do, again, if I was entertaining and I still had a few things going on, I take my little bowls. If you've got a bowl without a cover, you don't need it, but they look pretty, so I'm going to use them. Put your covers on, and then I'm going to throw it back in my lowest setting on my oven. Be careful, remember this is hot. I already touched it once, forgot it was hot. But I'm not strong enough on that one. Okay, so I'm just going to throw this in the oven. At this point, you don't have to do anything else. You're on low. Throw it in your oven and just let it stay in there and stay warm until you are ready to serve. All right, we'll be back with our fabulous, fantastic sandwich. Okay, on to our fabulous, world-famous sandwich. That's going to go with our creamy tomato soup. All right, what is it? This is the grilled cheese sandwich from Woody's Lunchbox from Walt Disney World in California. Now, interestingly enough, Wade and I have never really had this at Walt Disney World in California because we've never been to Walt Disneyland. We've never been to Walt Disneyland in California. We've been to Walt Disney World in Florida several times, but we haven't made it that far west. But this was, something that I saw online a couple years ago. I've made it a couple times. It's absolutely delicious, easy. This recipe is directly from the Disney website. I forgot what it's called, the site. But it's supposed to be their authentic recipes. Speaking of authentic Disney recipes, if you haven't checked out our bread pudding from the Grand Floridian in Florida, Disney World, check it out. It's one of my favorite desserts in the whole world. Anyway, so we're going to make the grilled cheese sandwich from Woody's Lunchbox in Disneyland, California. All right, so first thing you need, of course, wouldn't be a grilled cheese sandwich without bread. For this particular recipe, you want to use a good artisan bread. Doesn't have to necessarily be something from the bakery, but a nice, hearty white bread. It goes a long way. Again, this is going to be our dinner, calorie-wise and everything. It's worth it. Okay. Now, this sandwich has a spread that goes in the middle, also a spread that goes on the outside for the frying bit, and for the middle part, we're going to need half a cup of softened cream cheese. We need a half a cup of sharp cheddar cheese. And we need, I don't know this by heart yet, and we need a little bit of cream. And we're going to have 2 tablespoons of cream, and we're going to need 1/4 of a tablespoon of salt. And then for the outside, we need half a cup of mayonnaise and 1 clove of garlic finely diced and 1/4 a cup of kosher salt. Kosher salt with the other one as well. If you don't have kosher salt, again, that's just it's a big grain salt. If you're going to use table salt, cut it in half. Okay. So with that, we're just going to put our mayonnaise and our salt and our garlic in our bowl, and we're going to give that a good stir. Now, interesting enough, when I just make a regular grilled cheese sandwich, I use something my mother did. I don't know if anybody else does it. Everybody that I've ever made a grilled cheese sandwich for loves it, but I use mayonnaise to butter or to spread on the outside of the bread before I fry it. Try it. If you haven't tried it, let me know if you like it. Okay, so this we're going to put aside for now. And again, we've got our handy dandy immersion blender, which we're going to take and we're going to put our cheeses in. So this is half a cup of nice sharp cheddar cheese. Let's dirty another 4 or knife, why not? I just find if you kind of break it up a little bit, it does make it a little faster with the blending. All right. Then put our salt in. And we need 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. One, 2. We'll save that for some color later. Alrighty. Now, of course, we had to make a mess. We lost a few of our pieces of cheese, but that's okay. All right, so then we're going to give this a nice blend. You want to blend it all together and get it smooth if you can. That's loud. That's really all there is to it. Look at how beautiful. All right? All right, guys, so let me kind of pick up the snacks. We'll bring the griddle over. We'll assemble the sandwich, and we'll get it cooked. Be back in a little bit. Okay, we've got all our sauces and toppings and everything all put together. All right, so let's go on to assembly. This is Wade's going to put the recipe on there. He'll also put the link to go right to that site. It's a really step-by-step recipe. I'm going to do it here step-by-step, but it's a long, long recipe for him to write all the way out on the website. However he does it. But, so, now the recipe calls for 2 slices on each sandwich. Again, we're going to get 4 sandwiches out of this. For 2 slices of, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. 2 slices of cheddar and 2 slices of provolone, okay? So what you do is you're going to put your 2 slices on 4 of your pieces of bread of cheddar, a nice cheddar cheese. All right. I was going to say it was 1 piece of cheese for Wade, but I forgot that one. All right, so that's on 1 layer of our bread, of course. Then we got our 2 slices each of provolone. Now I'm going to do this on my griddle. Of course, you can do this in a frying pan. A griddle is one of those things, too. If you don't have it, put it on your wish list. I love my griddle. Do I use it every single day? No, but whenever I make pancakes or French toast or grilled cheese, up in our area, there's a product that's called, what's it called? With the, you know, that I put on the egg sandwich. It's almost like it's like a round piece of meat. Oh God, you know what it is? I make it on with the egg and the not ham, not spam, not bacon. Anyway, again, I don't know what it is, guys. But wait, I'll figure it out. Wait, I'll throw it in. I'll put a comment on it. What I was trying to think of. Of course, the minute we're done with this, I'll remember. But anyway, in this case, I've got my griddle warming up. All right, and now, so what appears to be the easiest way to do this is we're going to divide evenly. So we got our cheese. And we're going to try to divide evenly our cheese sauce. We'll fix this up a bit but on top of our cheese slice, like I said, I will spread it out a little. I'll spread it out more evenly over each one once we got some on there. Try to keep your sandwich or your cheese centered on your sandwich. We're a little short on this one. And that one, but of course we're going to use this all up. Don't want any to go to waste. If you just took a spoon and ate this now, you'd be, oh my God, that is the filling. That's absolutely delicious. All right, guys, I think that's pretty even. Yep, that's mine. Delicious. Okay, then we're going to take each one of our sandwiches and we're going to turn it upside down. So that way it kind of, you know, it's going to kind of get it stuck. Give it a little push. So, you know what I mean? It's going to, the two cheeses is going to kind of stick a little bit together. So when we put our spread on to fry it with, it will make it a little bit easier also to bring it into the pot. That looks good enough to eat already. Okay, guys, then we're going to take our mayonnaise and garlic, and we're going to do a nice coating. Again, we need this for all four, so kind of try to make sure you got, I should say, all four sides, 8 sides. So divide it up relatively even. Of course, because I'm doing this leaning over, because we're filming this, I wouldn't be having such a hard time with it. All right, so then we're going to take our sandwich and we're going to turn him upside down on our hot grill. And we're going to do that for each one. All right, let me move the cutting board out of the way, make it a little easier. Now, of course, the cord on this is not very long because they're very smart. The manufacturers, they want to make sure that if you knock it off the counter, the cord is small enough that it's going to unplug. So then we're going to take and do the other side. Oh, it smells delicious because, of course, the garlic, you can smell the garlic that's in this spread. Again, like I said, if I make just regular grilled cheese, I use mayonnaise to spread on the outside of the bread, not butter. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's absolutely delicious, but this is the way my mom did it. Okay, so we want to get these a nice golden brown, which I don't think they are quite yet, although they might be. Yep, that one actually looks pretty good. So let's see, we're going to give them a flip. 1, 2, 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that. All right, these ones are going to be a little harder, so I'm going to move it over this way. 1, 2, 3. Almost. Not as perfect as the others, but close. 1, 2, 3. All right, and we're going to let those get nice and brown on that side. Maybe give it a little push. So I'm going to let them get browned, And then I'm going to turn it down a bit so that we can make sure our cheese gets nice and melty. And of course, you're going to see it. It's already starting to drip a little bit down the side. But we do want to get that cheese inside melted. But I'm going to leave it on the same heat right now, just to get the other side browned. All right, be back in a little bit, show you what it looks like. All right, guys, you can see. So I let it the other side get browned, left it on the high heat, turned it down a bit, and you can see. Look at our cheese is all oozing out. It's nice and bubbly. They're done. All right, it's almost supper time. See you in a bit. Okay, it's finally time to eat. Let's dig in. Let's taste our beautiful creamy tomato soup. And really, I mean, any kind of sandwich goes good with tomato soup, but of course, grilled cheese is always the best. Wow, delicious. I don't know, it's kind of like a grown-up version of the other soup in the
nice
red and
strong
white
tomato
can.
taste.
Yeah. And you taste the basil and
That's really good.
it's delicious, huh? Yep, thank you. Oh my, that's so tasty. I can just eat the whole
I like the warm dish idea too.
Yep, and I mean, it's not that hot that nobody could touch it if they're going to burn, but it just kind of makes it a little special, especially when you're eating a sandwich or something like that, because now we're going to taste our world famous. You guys probably didn't get that with the string. Look at all that cheese just oozing out there. Beautiful. Cream cheese center.
They're simple.
Wow.
They're delicious.
That is a good grilled cheese sandwich.
Wow.
That is definitely tomato.
You taste the garlic and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
You taste the garlic, the mayonnaise, the even though you got 2 cheddar cheeses, I used a really sharp cheddar on the inside, and then just a seriously sharp cheddar on the inside, a regular sharp cheddar on the in between the bread. Delicious.
It is.
Ooh. Now, who likes to dunk? Me. Even though that's just soup and a sandwich, that is a hearty meal.
It is.
Although in that part of the world, today it should be really cold, it was unseasonably warm. Although it's nice not to hear the furnace running 24/7.
Right.
Or hearing the thermostat turn on and off. Alright, well, I hope that you all enjoyed watching us make this as much as we enjoyed making it with you all.
Yeah.
Please try it. This is such an easy, even inexpensive tomato soup to make, and it makes such a difference. And of course, Woody's Lunchbox grilled cheese is delicious. That's all I could say.
Yep. Please like us, subscribe, and check out SherryHillHomeCooking.com. Until the next video.
Ciao.
Bye.
That is pretty damn good.
It is.
I have fun.